but I've been running for president for 15 months now. And when I announced that I was running, there were a number of people who asked me, they said, you know, you're a relatively young man. Why are you running so soon? Why are you running this time? You can afford to wait. And I had to explain, I'm not running because of some long-held ambitions or because I think it's somehow owed to me. I'm running because of what Dr. King called the fierce urgency of now. The fierce urgency of now. Because I believe there's such a thing as being too late. And that hour is almost upon us. You know, over the last couple of weeks, we've marked the 5th anniversary of a war that I believe should have never been authorized and should have never been waged. Over 4,000 Americans now dead. This war has lasted longer than the First World War, the Second World War, and the Civil War. And rather than making us more safe, it distracted us from the war that had to be won, that still has to be won in Afghanistan against Al-Qaeda, those who killed 3,000 Americans. We are seeing an economy that is not working for the American people. And Wall Street has finally figured it out when it started affecting their profits, but ordinary people have been dealing with a tough economy for many, many years now. This is the first peacetime economy where you had economic growth and economic expansion that ended with workers seeing their wages and incomes actually lower than it was when they started. People are at risk of losing their homes because of the home foreclosure crisis. They've never paid more for gas, they've never paid more for milk, never paid more for college educations, never paid more for health care. So it's harder for people to save, it's harder for people to retire, it's harder for folks to make ends meet. Our healthcare system leaves 47 million people without health insurance. And if you've got health insurance, you've seen your co-payments, your deductibles, your premiums, all going up. And our education system, despite the slogans, still leaves millions of children behind, unable to compete in an international economy. In such circumstances, we can't afford to wait. We can't wait to fix our schools. We can't wait to fix our healthcare system. We can't wait to end global warming. We can't wait to bring this war in Iraq to a close. We cannot wait, and that's why I'm running for president of the United States of America. In fact, when I decided to run, it was because I believed that the American people understood the size of our challenges had outstripped the capacity of a broken politics to solve. I believed that the American people were tired of a politics of tearing each other down. They wanted politics of lifting the country up. I believe you were tired of spin and PR and double talk from elected officials. You wanted straight talk and honesty, truthfulness from your elected officials. But most of all, I was betting on you, the American people. Some of you know I now live in Chicago, but I'm not originally from Chicago. I moved to Chicago after college because I wanted to work. I wasn't much older than some of the young people here today, and I realized I wanted to work to help people who were worse off, and I wanted to do it at a grassroots level. And there were a group of churches who were helping steel workers who'd been laid off of the plants back in the mid-'80s. And so I went to work as a community organizer, setting up job training programs for the unemployed and after-school programs for youth. And it was the best education I ever had, even though it was really hard, because it taught me that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they're given a chance. And that change doesn't happen from the top down, it happens from the bottom up. And so we carried that philosophy into this campaign. I'm convinced that the American people are decent and generous people willing to work hard and sacrifice on behalf of future generations. And I was convinced that if we could just get past some of the divisions that block our progress, racial, religious, regional. If we could all come together, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, young, old, rich, poor, to challenge the special interests that have come to dominate Washington, but also to challenge ourselves to be better neighbors and better parents and better citizens, then there'd be no problem we couldn't solve and no destiny we could not fulfill. And I am here to report that after 15 months, after 46 states, after speaking to hundreds of thousands of people and shaking tens of thousands of hands and kissing hundreds of babies, I am here to report that my bet has paid off, and my faith in the American people has been vindicated, because everywhere I go, people are standing up and saying, we want change, we want something new, we want to turn the page and write a new chapter in American history. That's what the American people are telling me on the campaign trail. But